Hi, I'm Abe Peck from Inside Unmanned Systems, the executive editor. We're here in Orlando at the AUVSI Xponential 2022 show, and it's good to be anywhere, and so that's great. We're here with Dor Abahasara, who's the CEO and co-founder of Percepto. I guess I'll ask you a question that way we didn't talk about before. What have you seen here?
In this event?
Yeah, it's been 2 years, probably since you came live.
Yeah.
And,
one of the most interesting things I'm seeing in this event is, first that it's bigger. It's bigger than it was last year. I think it's even bigger than pre-COVID events that we've seen. And the other thing I'm seeing, and I'm very excited about, that it's more commercial oriented. I was in Chicago, I think it was before COVID.
Yeah, I went to that one. That's when I first started.
And I felt in that AUVSI that you see more defense-oriented companies and businesses. And for us at Percepto, we are excited about commercial applications of robotics, of these technologies. And I think if you're going to walk the aisles in this event, you're going to see an overwhelming amount of commercial companies compared to the defense one, and for me, it's a good sign that the commercial applications are being implemented and the market is there.
And part of that, as you know from Israel, technology transfer takes place, and it goes from defense to commercial a lot. So here we are.
Yeah, of course.
So talk about your solution a bit.
Yeah, so Percepto, we are a company that is using these technologies of robotics, of cloud software, and of AI to help the companies that manage infrastructure for us to do it in a more efficient way, in a more reliable way, in a more sustainable way. And what do I mean by that? If you think about a power plant or oil refinery, all those big infrastructure that we build and we hope that they're going to last for years forward, they are at the mercy of old and deteriorating infrastructure. And the way most companies deal with the problem in their infrastructure is what we call inspection rounds. People walking around trying to figure out what's going on. And we just see the opportunity that robotic and AI can do that much better.
Sure, they can't see from the ground on the 28th floor in a building in Tel Aviv,
Yeah, so we're doing that in big facilities in the energy and heavy industrial space. And we're also doing it for the infrastructure that take our power and fuel to us, like the power grid. With a deal we announced here with FPL, Florida Power Light, working with them to monitor the power grid in Florida. Oil pipeline, these type of infrastructure. Today, I think you just can only get to a certain point once every few years. Just think about it. You want to monitor something to make sure things will not go wrong, and the best you can do is get to see what's happening once every few years. Basically, companies just kind of resign to the fact that they will react to failures instead of trying to prevent them. And we are changing that mechanism because if you automate it with robotics, you can do it every week now.
That's actually, you're changing not only an actuality, but you're changing a mindset, and at a cost that makes that possible.
Yeah, that's the key. It has to be economical.
Yeah, and so it's a drone in a box, yeah?
Oh yeah, so our solution is end-to-end, meaning that for the customer's perspective, he wants to know if he has a failure. For that, he needs to look at the software that will tell him you have a failure. For us to be able to tell him if he has a failure, we need to have the data of that asset. And that's been the gap. How do you get to these places? So our expertise is to use autonomous robotics. And Percepto is a company, when we started 8 years ago, we started with creating what I call a drone in a box, and I hope most people know what drone in a box is.
So, yeah.
It's a box with a drone inside that you can operate remotely without having people close by to that drone. And today we are, I say, the leading drone in a box companies because I see us as the most deployed solution worldwide. And this AUVSI Xponential event, we're presenting our Percepto Air Max, the most deployed system that we have worldwide, but also our next generation system, the Percepto Air Mobile. And for us, that's a big step, helping customers solving how they collect the data to enable us to give them this end-to-end solution of, answering the question they want to ask.
It's funny, there's journalism and then there's the technology, and in journalism the joke is if 100 people, you interviewed 100 people and someone said no, you say who's the no. Here you actually welcome discovering a failure because you can do something about it.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of funny. And so this is like just a question. Really, just a question is. Are you doing anything with platforms like Leviathan or these offshore platforms?
So currently not. We're working mainly in big industrial facilities in a linear infrastructure like power grid or pipeline. There's the reason that we are not doing it yet is that we haven't got the time yet to kind of adjust the system to their requirements, definition. In the ocean, there are some
right. And again, for people who don't know what we're talking about, huge natural gas discoveries in the Mediterranean, and that's making that kind of area an energy power in a way. And I was curious if that want to extend out. So there are other drone-in-a-box companies. What do you think really? Would you go to market on?
So I feel
it's an end-to-end, of course.
And it's important. It's an important differentiation. Because when you are thinking about this industry and who is competing with who, not every company that has a drone is competing with each other.
That's correct.
And I think that today it's more about who was able to kind of focus on a specific market, who has been able to create a dent and a meaningful market impact. For us, it was the end customer market. So, for example, when we tried to solve ground robotics, we didn't build a new ground robot.
Right.
We partnered with Boston Dynamics and used that technology. So we are developing this vertical expertise for infrastructure and for heavy industrial sites and their infrastructure. And that's where we are able to solve problems. Some other drone-in-a-box companies that maybe focus on defense, maybe focus on being a more platform approach that people can create it. But I think today it's not about the drone in a box per se. It's about who is really trying to offer a solution to these industries and how well do they do it.
And I think that's what I think that's a big, like you say, coming back after a couple of years here. One of the evolutions has been it's not just a product; it's a solution.
Yeah.
If you were to come back next year, what do you think? It'd be a little bit of a seer. What do you think you would be? What do you think you'd be talking about from your company? What do you think you'd be seeing?
So, first of all, I must tell you, I will come back next year.
All right, there you go.
I really think it's a good event,
right?
And that we have a great turn up, and there's a good traction of people and relevant discussions. Now, I do think this market is in an evolution state. I don't think I'm going to talk about things in a completely different way. We're going to still be talking about evolution of the regulation environment for beyond visual line of sight flights. We're going to still be talking about the use cases, how companies implement it, what we can learn from other companies, and how we can implement it into more industries. We're still going to be talking about enabling technologies. You see all these radar companies and LiDAR companies, and you see all these engine and ESCs companies, these battery companies even I see. So these are important components that are kind of maturing over time and unlocking new applications.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm here to meet the client side. I'm here to see the technologies, and I do feel that we're going to see more of that. I'm sure we're going to see an even bigger convention because this one's so good. Word gets around,
and maybe COVID goes away a bit more.
That's
I know,
an unknown, but
as they say in Morocco, inshallah. But
inshallah, yeah. So I hope that will be the case, and that's what I hope to see next year.
Great. Anything else you want to add?
No, I appreciate
and I appreciate you sitting with us. So thank you very much, and we'll do it again next year.
I'm happy to do it.
Okay, Dor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.